Hey everybody, I am Haley Gray and I hope that you are having an awesome evening and that things are going amazingly well for you. I am the group owner here in the Women's Entrepreneur Network, and I am a mom of four and definitely stuck working from home right now. I hope that you are having a phenomenal weekend and that you are having a really great time. If you are catching me on the live, give me a hashtag live. If you're catching me on the replay, give me a hashtag replay. And I'm sorry right now, if my eyes are doing a little wonky thing, I am dealing with crazy allergies because it is spring in North Carolina. And I don't know about y'all, but I get allergies and I itch like crazy. And I'm really, really, really grateful for all of the amazing flowers that are blooming in my yard, but they're killing me. Um, Antihistamines are my friend at this time of year anyway. So my question for you guys is, how are you balancing life and work right now? Um, do you have kids at home? Are you trying to work from home? Are you taking time off from it? Do you have little kids, big kids? Tell me how things are going for y'all. I would love to hear back from y'all how things are going with balance. Because I know that, like, right now, for a lot of people, working and balancing life is a huge deal, right? I'm obviously working my own business. We do digital marketing, we do websites, we do social media management, we do ads, we do funnel builds, and all of this stuff. And yet, all of us who are working on my team pretty much have kids at home, and we're trying to balance the mom, I'm hungry, with the fact that, like, I have two teenage boys and a teenage girl at home, and they can pretty much eat us level almost any day of the week. And the amount of food that we're going through in our kitchen is truly spectacular. Um, so feeding the hordes is a daily thing where we're making breakfast, lunch, dinner. I'm not used to having to cook quite so much because my kids are a little bit older and they do their thing, right? They normally feed themselves, they get up. My younger daughter, my 19-year-old, is in college, so she's normally not even here, so she's home. And of course, all of the college habits, I'm a guest at home. No, you're not really a guest because you're really here, is a thing right now. And trying to balance everybody doing laundry and everybody doing all their stuff, schoolwork, um, it's a huge thing. Tish says, I realized today that I need to clear my plate before starting any new projects. I have a lot on the go and I need to finish some big things and so then I can work on new things, right? I think that one of the things we haven't really talked about, is a lot of people are really, really stressed out right now. I totally get it. And, your people generally have kind of two reactions. One is that they turtle under and they don't do anything, and it's kind of like this revolving thing where you're either on Netflix and you're watching movies or you're just like, watching the news endlessly, right? And then there's this other end, and I tend to fall into that camp where we're endlessly doing things and trying to do stuff and like working ourselves into the ground. And unfortunately, this is a marathon, not a sprint, right? We are here, we are stuck at home for the foreseeable future. Nobody knows when it's going to end. And we're trying to balance, you know, everything and get stuff done still. And it's really tricky when you've got last week bleeding into this week, bleeding into next week, and you don't really even kind of know which day of the week it is unless you look at your calendar. I think it's particularly challenging if you're an entrepreneur because we don't have the same calendars and meetings, I think, that a lot of people who are working from home. So, like, my husband is working from home, he's a software engineer, and he has meetings pretty much most days of the week. And, for him, as he was saying tonight, it's almost like a dream come true because he's getting to work from home. He doesn't really have to interface with people. He just has to talk to computers all day long. And he lives to write code. It's who he is. It's what he does. He would prefer to limit his social interactions. So he's got that check, and he's in his own happy little introverted, sphere or space. So it's kind of really, really cool for him. And, I get the challenges of all of this. You know, it is a huge deal with trying to balance, work and interacting with people and everything else. So Tish, to your point, I think that is a huge deal trying to balance getting stuff done before you start taking on new projects, because it can also be super tempting right now to do a ton of brand new projects and get a ton of new things started in your business, because now is a really great time to get stuff done without finishing things and making sure that things are, your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed, and the projects are done, because, it's new toys. You get to go play with new toys and shiny object syndrome and all of that kind of fun stuff that happens in business. I'm well aware that it's something that my own team has been struggling with, because they want new projects to work on, and yet we're finishing other bigger projects so that they can start on the new stuff. And it is a challenge to get stuff totally done, get your plate cleared so that you can start taking on the new stuff. And the other thing that's, a huge challenge with this whole, entrepreneur thing, working from home, quarantine thing, is that it can be really insidious, right? So you can either go play Netflix or go play with kids. I have caught myself some days just messing in the kitchen for hours and hours and hours on end. The other thing that can happen is you can find yourself working 16, 17, 18-hour days because you're trying to get stuff done, right? I know that I have done both extremes in the last 3 weeks, because people are, calling me, they're needing help, they're all this stuff. And I'm, putting myself out there and burning the candle on both ends. You said you've been working for over a year on something, so you're not earning a regular income. The temptation is to try and start something that will generate income, but you need to get these other projects done. Absolutely. And that's a challenge, right? Trying to get those things done and I's dotted and T's crossed. And the other challenge too, Tish, is making sure that they are done enough. Challenge in business is, okay, so I'm not making enough income. Now I'm going to go over here and do this while I'm trying to bring in income. There's nothing wrong with doing a bit of that, but you've got to make sure that you're setting up your foundations correctly in your business so that you can have some leeway in your business, for sure. Today was a day of nope, you needed it. Yeah, right. I taught a class this afternoon on social media engagement for the BGA open house, which was really, really cool. And I didn't do much else. So I got ready for that. I did that. And I really didn't get much else accomplished today. I'd meant to get a website done for a friend, and that did just not happen. Meg, I totally understand letting yourself get distracted. I would totally, I can feel you, because it's easy to get distracted right now. Kids, work, life, finances, there's a million things that will distract the heck out of you right now. Hey, Deanna, good to see you. Hey, Joe, good to see you. And, let's be honest, the class earlier was great, right? And that was pretty much the only thing I've done today. I did the class. I got prepared for that. I got up late. I finished getting prepared for that class. I did the class, and then I went and I took a nap for several hours, and literally went walking this evening with my family, with my husband, because we've taken to going walking every night. He pries me ever so gently out of my chair once a day to be like, okay, now you need to go walking. And it's very sweet. And, we're going walking every day, somewhere between 1 and 3 miles a day. So it really, really helps. But I will say that the allergies are kind of killing me right now. you know that you need to go for a walk tomorrow. You missed it last week and the weather had better cooperate, right? I'm really lucky. Right now is a really pretty time of year in North Carolina. Despite all of the pollinating, our weather tends to be in the 60s and low 70s. So it's just a really pretty time of year here, except that everything is covered in pollen. If you can get through the pollen part, or you can manage to take enough antihistamines, you're going to be really great. But life and balance and work right now are tending to kind of meld together. And it's finding the spiritual practices, the emotional practices, the self-care practices that you need in the middle of this to establish a routine so that you can keep making forward progress in life and in your business. Hey, Jazz, good to see you. I know it's not easy, right? Because, we don't have the normal structures and everything in place. And here's the reality. Most of us are going to be stuck at home for months. We know that we're going to be here all of April, probably all of May, some, if not all of June, some, if not all of July. So how do you face that? And knowing that, we may go through waves of it. I know I have a friend in Singapore and they've gone through several waves of it where they restrict and then release and restrict and release. And China is going through some of the same. How do you balance that and do the self-care that you need so that you're not going totally start craving bonkers and still manage to be productive, to stay happy, to stay balanced and even in all of this kind of crazy stuff. I was commenting to my husband tonight that it's actually really nice in our house because my 19-year-old is home from college. My 16-year-old is here. Obviously, he's not gone to college yet. He's a junior in high school. And the two of them are my two middle children, and they've actually been bonding together at night over, dessert and a drink and whatever. And they'll sit in the kitchen and have a whatever together, whether, it's a piece of cake and a glass of milk or whatever. And it's kind of cute to see them bonding and connecting together, while my husband and I go out and go walk. So it's really kind of cool. But how do we help you find, how can I help you find that, that balance here, that ebb and that flow needs to happen? Meg, you just have to take a deep breath and hang on, and you will be stark raving bunkers. You're an extreme extrovert, so the lack of people is hard for you. Yeah. And the other thing, if you're an extreme extrovert, and I will say I am not an extreme extrovert, so you can take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, is to get onto as many Zoom calls as you can with people, FaceTime, so that you're connecting with people at least a little bit. You're not getting that physical contact with people, but at least you're getting some of that face-to-face time with them. And I think that will help a bit with the going bonkers part. Make a point of scheduling time to connect with people. One of the beautiful things that I actually found in my business and in my life was when I really started making a point of intentionally connecting with people, to have either a Zoom call or to meet with people for coffee or whatever. Is it really helped me mentally and emotionally. It also helped me find my support structure as well. Because I came from corporate, I still have those friends, but they're not necessarily my best business buddies. It has taken me several years to really cultivate those buddies and friends who will, help me in business, who understand some of the challenges, and who are willing to help me do whatever it takes to do in business. My corporate friends don't understand, why I would want somebody to like, comment, and share my Facebook posts. But you better believe that my BNI buddies certainly do understand why I would like for somebody to like, comment, and share my posts. So it's those business friends that I've been building. And it's not because we only have a business relationship, but they are people who also are business owners, and they get the challenges that are involved in it. At business, you were doing Zoom and also had surveys. Absolutely. Yeah, my husband's work is doing Zoom, and they're doing pretty well. And they've done some happy hours on Zoom as well. Deanna says, "Oh my gosh, I've been on some Zoom happy hours with friends, and today I met with good friends in a parking lot to catch up, car to car, of course, but it was nice, right?" There are definitely ways that you can maintain that physical distance, and still really connect with people. You know, I am like all business all the time if you know me in person. But I think it's really important right now to kind of take a little tiny step to the side and say, okay, so how are you doing balancing that need for human connection with, how are you, functioning in your business with your life and all of that right now? Because it's a little bit stressful for a lot of people. And hey, Beth, good to see you. Glad to catch you again. It was really awesome seeing you this afternoon in our open house for the Business Growth Alliance. It was a lot of fun. I hope that the presentation I did this afternoon was helpful. I was doing a presentation this afternoon, which reminds me I need to do a full-on recording of my social media strategy presentation, but that sucker is like 3 hours. So I need to set aside some time to break that up into chunks and turn it into an e-course, because I'm going to do that as a free e-course that I'm offering to people. Exactly. Taking time to do something that makes you happy. Absolutely. And for me right now, it's been kind of cool because going out and exercising has made me happy. I'm also on track to lose the quarantine 15. So where other people may be gaining, and you guys are probably seeing me post stuff that I'm baking. I actually can't eat a lot of it, so it's kind of funny. But my family can, but I'm on track to lose at least 15 pounds while I'm here on quarantine. But I also have an unfair advantage because I'm less than a year out from bariatric surgery. So I'm still at that point where I'm losing a couple of pounds a week. Yes, it will affect and be positive for business hand in hand. Absolutely. And thank you, Beth. The interesting thing that is worth um, thinking about here is how to layer in some of this social media stuff and to really plan it, and the online world stuff, whether it's Pinterest or whatever, that will help you grow your business, beyond COVID-19. There are so many things you can do to really help you grow your business, to help you make more money, that can help you build more relationships. And honestly, the more you can do to build those relationships and friendships now, the better your business is going to do long term. And the other thing too is the engagement that you have on your social media now, the better. Meg, I would love to talk to you about whether you're doing Pinterest or not in your business, because you can drive a lot of traffic to your website and get found pretty heavily using Pinterest. It's kind of a secret weapon for a lot of retail owners, especially when they have really kind of cute things. And I think I've shown y'all this, but I want to show it to you again. So this is my little hope lamp that I got from Meg. So I hope that y'all like that. It's kind of cute. This is kind of my hey y'all watch this moment. So it's a little hope lantern that I got from Meg. So I am really enjoying that. My son keeps stealing them off of my desk, and I do actually turn off my lights in my office and kind of let my little lanterns glow, which is kind of cool, but obviously I can't do it while I'm doing Facebook Live. Deanna, you find that you have to schedule work activities or you don't get them done. Absolutely. Patty, I don't know why you're not getting notifications on Facebook. And Meg, yes, you need to learn Pinterest better. So Deanna, to your point about I have to schedule work activities, abso-freaking-lutely. So one of the things we forget, is to be successful in business, we have to schedule our work activities and our time with scheduling it. I think that while we're quarantined, it's even more important because we don't have some of that like outside infrastructure coming into our businesses and into our lives. Um, and it can be super stressful. And we've lost some of the anchoring that we had in our lives. And so now you're definitely having to build that, right? It can be hard to remember to eat on time. It can be hard to remember to get out and go exercise. It can be really hard to remember just to take a shower at times because your points of reference have totally changed, right? So, yeah, like tomorrow is Palm Sunday. So my husband was suggesting that we build Sundays in our hands. But it's definitely a challenge. And thank you, Jazz. I like them too. Tish, you really struggle with posting a certain number of times a day. I just go for engagement in terms of the messenger. I'm working up my nerve to message people directly. Posting a certain number of times a day on social media is much easier if you schedule your posts. I don't know how else to say that than just say get a scheduler or use the built-in scheduling functions. Otherwise, I don't see how you're going to manage to do it a certain number of times a day or at certain times unless you set alarms on your clock and stuff. And who needs that kind of nonsense? Meg says that's exactly how I got started making them. My kids wanted to a not night light to use at night. Absolutely. And they have a little solar panel on the top. And Deanna says, yes, there is no structure right now. So that makes it really hard. And I think it's harder too, Deanna, because you don't have littles at home that are depending on you to get up and cook them breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I will say mine don't really need me for breakfast, but they do kind of. One of them really wants lunch and dinner. The other one will eat lunch and dinner with us if given the opportunity. My 16-year-old is kind of more of he'll drive his own bus or whatever, but my 13 and my 19-year-old definitely want meals at particular times. So I find myself working my business and my life and my structure kind of around that because I know that my 13-year-old gets really hangry if I don't feed him at certain times. So meal planning is a thing. I'm still doing HelloFresh X number of nights a week. This week I've got 4 nights of it, which is kind of actually a relief because I'm not having to think about all of the stuff to do for food. But I will say that food and walking and exercise, and then like my husband's work hours is definitely adding more structure. The other thing that's adding structure for me right now is doing daily Facebook Lives here in the group. So if you put things on your calendar to say, hey, I'm going to do this at this time, and I'm going to do this at this time, and I'm going to do this at this time, it helps with the regularity and the structure in your business and in your life and everything else. Tish says, I schedule in my group and I can schedule on my other group and on my business page, but on my wall is where most people are. And I'm spending a lot of time building it right now. Yeah. And people really like kind of the spontaneous stuff on your wall. So that's a bit of a challenge. Absolutely. Off topic, but do I like HelloFresh? Deanna, yes, I like HelloFresh. I would actually offer to give you some free coupons right now. But they're not doing coupons at the moment because I think they're having trouble a little bit with the supply chain. But I would say overall, we really do like HelloFresh. Most of the meals are really good. Since I had bariatric surgery, I eat really small portions. My 13-year-old is kind of a little hit or miss. My husband likes a few bites of whatever the sides are, but he eats fish most days. So I'm able to take like 1-2-person meal and turn it into enough for 4 people usually, or throw in a couple of extra pieces again, if I need to do that. But we really like the meals. There have been some of the tacos that are absolutely exceptional. Most of the glazes with whatever, like there's a lot of like fruit balsamic kind of things that are really good. So like the apricot sauce, the figgy jam, those are really amazing. We have actually, like for the first time ever, been doing pork chops and certain types of pork, which have never been on our menu before. It's actually been really cool for me because I'm learning to try out certain things in the kitchen that I would never do, and I don't end up acquiring a heck ton of different recipes like every week, right? And I'm not like bringing in tons of like crazy ingredients into my kitchen. So it's part of how I'm kind of staying sane. It has had a couple of huge benefits for me. One is that I'm able to meet my protein goals for my needs with my diet post bariatric surgery because I'm on a high protein diet. It's really good because I can get a lot of different proteins into my boys and into my 19-year-old. So I'm getting a lot of pork, beef, chicken, fish into everybody. I am allergic to shellfish, so we don't tend to serve shrimp in the house just because I'm like deathly allergic to it. Um, but the food has been really fresh. It's been on time pretty much every single week. To this week was the first week it has not been on time in like months and months and months. So that's part of my secret weapon as a working mom. I order 2 or 3 meals a week, and then I fill in around that. I do things like fajitas and other stuff on the weeks that we're not doing HelloFresh. I've looked at other meal plans, and I don't like the food as well. The food from HelloFresh, I did Dinnerly for a bit or plated for a bit. These are easier to prepare menus. Um, Takes me about a half an hour most of the time, half an hour to 45 minutes to prepare food. So, between dinner and everything else, it's about an hour and a half a day, hour to an hour and a half. Um, but not like crazy prep time or whatever. It's enabled me to help my sons learn a bit more about cooking, and my daughter has started like smelling food, and she'll come down from the great beyonds upstairs and eat down here as well. Um, when we start talking about balancing life and work right now, this has been an exceptional way to help balance things and really help, bring some normalcy into our lives. Because who doesn't need normalcy right now? Um, you can get a free plan from your company. So you've been looking at it. I would totally, if you can get free, do it. You know, I would do it in a heartbeat. Even with one person in the house, I would do like 2 meals a week, and then that's 4 nights a week that you've got dinners for. And you don't have to cook all of the sides at once. So then you could have, extra potatoes or whatever to go with your meal. It just depends on how you tend to eat most of the time and how big of an eater you are. But like I said, I am because I'm a bariatric surgery patient, I tend to eat less at one go than most people do. Not that I don't eat, I just don't eat as much at one time. And some of the options make really, really good leftovers. So yeah, meals are a really good form of balance. Naps, hot baths, setting a schedule, doing catch ups online, like in your group, like with your team leaders, Deanna, I would think would be a really good thing where you could do a daily Facebook Live to give people an opportunity to connect, kind of like I've been doing in here. There's a lot of things you can do to help like establish some sense of normalcy. And the cool thing is that you can keep doing this even after quarantine is over. I mean, it's not like these things don't like continue working. For me, the biggest challenge would be, yeah, it would work for leftovers for you. Almost all of the meals have done really well for leftovers for us if we have leftovers. There's a few of them where honestly my kids will be in there scraping the pan to get the last little bits of sauce out. So sometimes it doesn't last very long. Any of the ones that have like the figgy balsamic stuff or the apricot glaze, I mean, it's gone in a matter of like a blink, and there are no leftovers, so I haven't been able to try them. But for me, because I eat multiple meals a day, I eat like 5 times a day. So the leftovers work really well. you know. So yeah, not to give like HelloFresh like a really huge plug, but the menus have been, the recipes have been really good. They send you the menu cards so you know what's on them. There are some of the things that I do on my own now without having to buy the kit from them. So that's kind of cool. I just like the convenience of not having to have like a million little bitty bottles of this or that or the other in my fridge or in my pantry. Um, how are you guys doing otherwise? How's the mental health holding up? How are you feeling about this whole thing? You know, I think that having total, you know, your emotions all over the place is totally normal right now. You know, I think that feeling hopeless is totally normal. I think that feeling totally off balance is totally normal. I'm not a mental health provider. Um, I'm definitely not a mental health provider, but I'm just very sensitive to all the topics around mental health, just in general. Um, because I mean, it's a big upheaval that's happened right now with our lives and our businesses. And sometimes, you know, what we're thinking, what we're seeing is that, you know, how we're having to do business is changing pretty dramatically and pretty quickly. There is one thing I want to share with you guys. If you guys don't know this, I am doing an open house with Jenny Wright for the limited opportunity for this week. And this is, so I think that she has reset it so that you can't get into the open house anymore. I'm doing a really cool thing with her this week. Doing free presentations and doing other stuff. But if you guys are interested in, you know, seeing more about, you know, getting training and stuff, we're helping with that. You are keeping on with keeping on, except when I have a day of nope, like today. It's okay to have it, but not for the duration. Yes, Tish, that is exactly it. You know, I think you have to give yourself some grace. And I think that it is important to actually schedule nope days. One of the things I do most weekends, I know y'all ask me if I ever sleep, but the reality is that most weekends, I think I've said this, I tend to sleep most of the weekend. I don't tend to do much on weekends. I do some, but it's in limited intervals, and I'm spending a lot of my time on the weekends sleeping. So from Friday to Sunday night, I'm really mostly in hibernation mode or just hang out with the family mode. Totally important to do that. Deanna says, my daily goal is to get dressed every day. My challenge, I have been doing very good with it since we talked. Thanks. You're welcome. And I hope that that helps. You know, sometimes just getting up and getting dressed makes a huge difference in how you feel and how things go. I have actually found it makes a huge difference, even if I have on otherwise the same clothes, if I put on a bra versus not putting on a bra. And I know that that is something so simple because I can be completely dressed exactly the same, you know, exactly, you know, in all other aspects. I have on shoes because my feet hurt otherwise, you know, I have on the same shirt, I have on everything else, but the difference in my posture and how I react to things, if I'm wearing a bra, is totally different. So y'all can take that for whatever it's worth. Jazz says, I think I have to be more intentional to stay on track and get jobs done because it's so easy to sleep in. Absolutely. I actually set an alarm every day to do things because I know I have to do it. And I know I have to be up at a certain time every day, or I will totally flip and go total vampire on it. You know, Tish says, kind of burned out with the training. I push hard when I go. I'm just not following through with it right now. And, you know, there's times where we definitely get crispy frittered around the edges. And I've had it, you know, going on in my life too. Meg says, I can't really say I get dressed. I change from nighttime PJs to daytime PJs. You know, that's funny. It's kind of true as me as well. Y'all probably notice that I wear sweatshirts a lot. It's because I'm constantly cold because I've lost 165 pounds. Actually, it's more than that now. It's like, it's right at 170 as of today. So, you know, the cool thing is that I've lost 100 and almost 70 pounds. The bad news is that I am cold all the time. So I have my daytime sweatshirt and my nighttime sweatshirt because I'm wearing like 2 and 3 and 4 layers of clothing at a time. And it's not that it's not warm in here. It is like 72 degrees in here, but I'm just cold. So I feel you. And yes, putting on the bra means we are doing adult things and we have to have adult focus. Exactly. Playing at being an adult, right? I would love nothing more right now than to sit and watch Grace and Frankie, but I have promised myself that I would get certain things done in my business because we're implementing a lot of processes and procedures and doing things that, because we're doing those things, we are, spending a lot of time, and I've basically, set up for myself as a carrot that I can go watch an episode of Grace and Frankie and subscribe to Netflix once I get certain things done in my business. And I'm starting to catch up. It's probably going to take me another month to get caught up to where I need to be because we had a couple of family emergencies happen back to back right before the COVID-19 and all the quarantine stuff started. And then I had clients freaking out. But right before all the COVID stuff started, we actually pulled my son out of his school, enrolled him in online school, and we're looking for military boarding schools for next year by his choice. So we had to go tour schools and we had to go get all that done. So I'm actually almost like starting to get caught up with where I need to be with stuff on my business. And I'm really grateful that I have a huge team that is helping me get stuff done in business. But, at the end of the day, when you're the business owner, you still have to make a lot of decisions and do a lot of stuff. So anywho, yes, getting up, getting dressed, putting on shoes, putting on a shirt, putting on a bra. If you're a woman, obviously the guys don't need to wear one. Those are all important things in our lives, in our businesses, and taking care of things and setting priorities and really getting stuff taken care of, cooking meals and getting all that done. I have to say that we've been eating lots of things and I'm experimenting with stuff. I'm actually looking at trying a sourdough starter, and dear Lord, we have bugs flying around in the house, and it is April 4th. So I can hardly wait for the rest of the summer. It's a lot of fun, but definitely a lot of crazy stuff going on. How can I help you guys right now with life and business and everything else? Don't, hesitate to let me know how we can help you. I am very happy to help support you guys here in the group. And I can definitely see that Zoom is stopping and starting, and we're having all kinds of fun with Facebook Live right now. So thank you, Facebook Live. And thank you, technology, for being a bit of a butthead. Hope that you guys have a really great evening. Summer is going to be miserable this year, hot, humid, and buggy. Yeah, and it's already hot and humid. And it looks like the bugs are already like well on their way here. And if I don't get a haircut in the next few weeks, that I'm going to be doing the Cousin It, the Yeti, the Wookiee look, going with my hair. I'm going to see how far out my hair can stand on end. Just kidding. It actually does kind of flatten out at a certain point. But yeah, I feel you guys. Hot, humid, and buggy. Welcome to North Carolina. Makes you want to come move here, doesn't it? Anywho, if you have not checked out, at least I have a day and night set. Exactly. Meg, at least you have a day pajama set and a night pajama set, right? So anywho, I hope that you have a great night and take care, and we will see you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.